Hello, welcome to Should I Buy This Game featuring Artistry. My name is Christine, and in this video I'll give you an overview of how the game is played and then share a few things we may like or dislike about the game to help you decide if you want to add Artistry to your collection. This is the game Artistry, and in this game we are collecting tiles that we're going to use to purchase these different fabric cards. Now each of the fabric card represents different artisans, so depending on how many we have of the same type of artisan, we then get to add new artisan cards into our hand. And I'll explain the benefits of all that. And so we start the game with one randomly dealt apprentice. So in this case, it's the glassmith apprentice. And this down here tells us how we can acquire tiles from the board. So for this apprentice, I can only get tiles that are beside each other, and I can get 2 tiles. So when we come down here to the fabric cards, I see that a yellow and purple is needed to get this card. So maybe I would start with that. So I come up here and I can only get 2 tiles beside each other. And here I can see the yellow and purple are beside each other. So I would take, on my turn, I would take these 2 tiles and put them into my player area. You're allowed to hold a total of 10 tiles as a maximum. If you're to get tiles and it would take you over 10, you are not able to get those tiles. So the next person would take their turn. I'll remove a couple pieces from the board as if that was their turn. So we are back to my turn. And as I mentioned, I have that purple and yellow. And over here, there's a card with purple and yellow. So I will return these, but they just go to a pot right now. They don't go back in the bag. So I'll just put them here. And on my turn, I would get this card. It is worth 1 point. They all have different values. So up here, I would move my player onto the 1. And it is a different artisan. So we would find the matching symbol up here. It is the metalsmith. I do not have a metalsmith artisan, so I'm able to get the apprentice into my hand. So now I'm able to collect cards or collect tiles that are 2 beside each other or are 2 diagonal. I now have more options. Then that card is replaced with a new card, and we continue on the turns. Now the goal is to acquire more of the same types of artisans because there are different levels. So if you have 1 fabric card, you get the apprentice. If you have 2 fabric cards of the same symbol, you get to add in the journeywoman. And that allows you to get 3 tiles. And in this case, it's still on a diagonal. And if you get 4 of the same, then you get the master. And there's only 1 master per game or per artisan. And in this case, we get 4 tiles on this different diagonal. And all of these cards have different ways you can see to get your tiles. At the end of the game, depending on the number of artisans, if you have apprentices, 3, 4, or 5 apprentices, you will get points. Each journeywoman is worth 1 point, and the master is worth 4 points. And here, if you have 1 fabric card, you get the apprentice, 2 for the journeywoman, 4 for the master. Now, I want to say that this is the jewelry box edition. So your game, unless you pre-ordered this, will not look like this. You'll have a regular game board. We put the white paper underneath just so you could see the numbers clear. But you would have a normal game board with probably like wooden tiles or something, but I don't know for sure. So this is a special edition. Now, when you're playing with 2 players, you do a 4x4. With 3 players, it's a 5x5. And with 4 players, it's a 6x6 grid you're filling in with tiles. Each round is played until nobody can take any more tiles and nobody can get any more cards. Each time you receive a card, you move along the scoreboard. You will play multiple rounds until somebody reaches 20. Once, at least at the end of the round, when somebody reaches 20, then that will trigger the end of the game, and everybody can get one more turn to finish what they're doing. Now, these inspiration cards here, you put out 3. And if you take the last red, green, or yellow tile, in this case, off the board, then you get this card. They all have some different abilities that in each round you can use once, and at the end of the game, they are worth 1 point as well. And that is basically how artistry is played. There is a solo mode to the game, and in the solo mode, the solo side starts with 2 cards, 2 apprentices, and then you would turn it over and remove tiles based on where they are on the board. And on their turn, they collect tiles. They can collect more than 10 tiles at a time. And then when they cannot collect any more tiles, you would trade them in for cards along what's available based on different priorities they have. Then when they cannot play any more cards, it's the end of their turn. And then the next round would happen. You're scoring their points based on their cards, just like you're scoring your own points. And if they were to make it to 20 first, it would also trigger the end of the game. And so you're basically just collecting cards the same way. If you collect different ones, you would add more apprentices, journeywomen, and masters to their hand as well. You do score them and then compare your scores at the end of the game. So you're using the cards to randomly collect tiles. So it's pretty straightforward solo mode to play, and they have 3 different levels of difficulty. So overall, we really enjoy playing artistry. And to start off is just how pretty the art is on the cards. There's all different cards based on the journey woman, the master. I'll show you a few others. They're all very pretty. I don't want to talk too much about the actual components because, as I mentioned, this is the special jewelry box edition. However, this company, even with their base games, always has really nice components to it. So if you were to buy the standard edition, you'll probably be impressed by the quality of their games. I also love all the patterns down here. Having a background in fashion design, I always love different patterns of fabrics and materials. This game is fairly easy to play. You're basically collecting tiles based on the cards you have in your hand, but you still have the strategy of which cards you're going after. As a player, you're looking at what the other player's collecting to be like, you don't want to be going after the same card for them to take it from you. So you might have to shift which cards you're going to go after. In this case, you're really needing those purple tiles because there's 4 cards that have purple tiles, but there was only 2 in this round of the game. So part of your strategy might be, I just want to get those purple tiles. The other is, are you collecting more tiles to cash in later in the game? Or are you going to cash in as you go to try and get the card you want, but then maybe your opponent's going to be taking the tiles because you didn't take tiles that turn. So there's that balance of what to do, when to do which thing to collect tiles, to cash in for the different cards, to score points. Are you just getting a lot of cards to increase your apprentices, even though they're not worth a lot of points? Or are you going to go for some of the bigger point cards up front where you need more tiles and you'll end up getting less artisans? So it's that balance between what you should do during your game. And because you're pulling out new tiles each time and there's a ton of cards, the game is always changing and the gameplay is the same, but each game you can't necessarily have the same strategy because you don't know what's going to be presented to you. And yeah, so as I said, it's a very interesting game. It's easy to learn and play. You can play with a bunch of people. So let me know if you have played Artistry and what you think of this game.